Right on. As ready as I'm going to be.
We're going.
We're just going to wing it.
Give me a second. I've got to pull up a little bit. No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
You go ahead. Yeah.
So welcome into game number 2 of the day. We think we finally have our audio issues fixed here, so hopefully we'll be with you here for the rest of this one. By the way, Covenant leads at 2-0 over Augusta. We're here in the first of 2 sets. In these particular matches, it's only 2 sets to 25. That's it. There is no best of 3 or anything like that. This is all just pool play here this morning. Matter of fact, it's pool play, I believe, on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we get into some of that bracket play, and then the championship games are Friday night. And we'll have those for you here as well. It is a 3-1 lead for Covenant. That ball tipped down. Augusta will make it 3-1. And back to serve for the Eagles is Judine Opingo, as Covenant will play it across and out of bounds. Make it now 3-2. We do have the roster for Augusta. I have, like, in this program, there's 700 teams because there's soccer and volleyball and everything all in the same weekend. And there are 2 Covenants in this book, but neither one of them appear to be the correct Covenant for this game. So I'm going to wing it a little bit for Covenant. If you don't hear a lot of their individual names this morning, I apologize for that, but I don't believe their roster is in here, so we're just going to kind of work with that a little bit. But I do have Augusta's, as we're tied up at 3, and that will count as a kill for Covenant, making it now 4-3. Again, everything the first day or 2 here is to 25, and all of those sets count individually. So you want to win as many as possible because they use those to then seed the tournament later on. So every game here on day 1 is important, as that is hit under the net by Kelsey Malden, and make it now 5-3 Covenant. Serve here now played to the outside and tipped across by Greenway. As Covenant plays it back over. And once again, played back to the near side. That's blocked up front. Good defense by Augusta. Neither team really getting a good set up front for their hitters here, and that bumps into the net by Greenway. As Covenant now leads at 6-3. Be a lot of different matches today, as there is an ace, making it 7-3. A lot of different matches today as we move forward. As a matter of fact, I think the next 5 are out of the division with the Rock and Legacy and some of those teams. So you're going to see, actually you'll see a lot of the Rock. I think we've seen them 3 times today. As there is a kill up front for Kelsey Malden, making it now 7-5. And back to serve for the Eagles is Julia Chase. Now Covenant will put it across, and Augusta will play it up front here. Set out, and that's a nice block up front. And just tip back over as play it to the middle. Good dig on that back line by Ivy O'Barry. And somebody was in the net up front, I do believe. We'll make it service back to Augusta here. It should be, I believe it should be 7-6, as that served out of bounds, but it doesn't say that at the moment. Make it 8-5, the lead for Covenant. Serve here now played back out front. Good hit in the far side is sent back across off the hands of Malden, and that will count as a point for Covenant, making it now 9-5 and a timeout to the Augusta Eagles. So we'll take one as well. Be back here in just a minute. You're watching the NACA.
Still something that's not quite.
So out of that timeout, Covenant to serve, leading it here in set 1, 9-5. And somebody had a double hit on the opposite side for the Eagles, making it now 10-5. Playing down to the back row, sent across there by Chase. Near side, good block. Out front by Greenway. That was just bumped over. And eventually deflected out of bounds. It went off of Augusta last, making it now 11-5. Play back near side. That would have been out, but it's played on the back line. 11-6 now the lead for Covenant. Make the serve for Augusta will be Kelsey Malden. As Emery Howe checks in. Sent across. Now the Eagles with an opportunity near side and into the net was Grace Greenway. Wonder if she was going to stop herself or not, but couldn't quite. I'll make it 12-6. Serve here is out of bounds. So once again, I do apologize. We were working up here trying to get our audio problems and all of those things solved, and got our rosters and everything. Realized that we do not have one for Covenant, so I'm working through that a little bit here. We do have one for Augusta, and again, there's every bit of 45 or 50 volleyball teams here this weekend, and then there's another 20 or 25 soccer teams, so there's a lot of teams to keep straight and to try to make sure that you have, and every now and then one of them falls through the cracks so they don't get it for some reason. So the ace served by Greenway. Now she'll serve again, and Augusta will have an opportunity here. It's played back up front. Good block at the net by Lucy O'Keefe. Make it 12-9. Serve here, played to the outside and just sent across. Now in the middle, this tipped over and down. Good play up front by Emery Howe. Let's make the score 12-10 Covenant. Tip set across. Now it's just bumped back over. And played to the outside as Augusta will try to set it. That's just put over. And that tipped across and down. Nice play up front for Covenant. A little tip across to the open spot on the floor will make it 13-10. set back to the near side. And once again, a little tip will fall in, and it's 14-10. Set in the middle, that's deflected up front, and eventually will fall in for the kill. Even though it went off that top of the net by Lucy O'Keefe, it still ended up falling in, and now Lucy will be back to serve. It's 14-11, the lead for Covenant. Serve here, well, it's a nice serve, but a good up from that front line as well. Now sent back to the middle, and there is a kill off the hand of Julia Chase, making the score now 14-12. Serve played to the near side. Tipped across and now sent over. So Augusta to play it far side. That just sent across again. And eventually into the net it goes for Covenant. Now 14-13 they lead it. And Augusta on a little bit of a comeback trail here. Got down by 5 or 6 early, but they have managed to close the gap relatively quickly here. And good block up front. Sent back to the far side. That's a nice save. And now the Eagles with an opportunity. And there's a kill. But that's a nice send up front by Apingo. And a good hit as well by Julia Chase. And it's now tied at 14. Serve here now. Played to the outside, and that will fall in. So 15-14, Covenant back on top by 1 as they gave up the lead here and now struggling to keep it. Played up top, set in the middle, tipped across, that's returned. And there's another kill. Once again, Julia Chase with the honors, and we're back tied at 15. So substitution here is Ivy O'Berry checks back in. Sent across, now the Eagles will play it far side. Put over by Malden. And I think that hit the antenna on the outside, and it did. So it will count as being out. And now 16-15 Augusta with the lead as they were down early, but they've managed to come all the way back to grab a 1-point advantage. And that's hit out of bounds off the serve by O'Berry. All tied up at 16 here. Serve play to the back row, and that hit into the net by O'Keefe. So right back on top comes Covenant. They lead it now 17-16. Set in the middle of the floor. That is a beautiful set. Nice little short set. And the kill as well makes it 18-16. Serve here, played now in the middle of that back line to the outside for Malden. That was deflected out front. Now Covenant with an opportunity, and again a partial block. And that hit out of bounds. So now a little run by Covenant. They're up by 5 or 6 early. Saw that lead evaporate. Augusta went up by a point, and now Covenant back up by 3 as we near the end of set 1. Couple of tips here. Now the Eagles play it to the outside, put across by Malden. Back near side, that's hit into the net. Make it 19-17. The serve here by Judino Pinco. It's bumped across, barely cleared that ceiling. Missed it by an inch or two, and then put down on the near side by Grace Greenway. And it's 19-18 as this game closes back up again. Just tracked down to the back row and just bumped across. Set in the middle, and that's hammered out front by Chase. Tied at 19. Serve here returned up front. Now hit out of bounds. And back on top goes Augusta. Boy, this has been an interesting first set. Neither team can really get up by too much. Just kind of gone back and forth as these two teams seem fairly well balanced, one against the other. So here played in the middle. Boy, that was unloaded on. And it'll end up falling in for a kill, and we're tied up at 20. Serve here, a shorter serve. Tracked down and played in that back line by O'Keefe. And hit deflected and then sent sideways off the hands of Opinko, and back out in front again goes Covenant, 21-20. By the way, I do believe that these sets are capped at 25, so I think it's just the first one to get there. This is not a win by two situation. Set in the middle, and there's another kill out front, and it's 22-20. And we have a timeout here to Augusta. 22-20 Covenant. Come back with the rest of set one here in just a minute. Serve here is an ace just on that back line of Augusta. Now 23-20. And now that's serve. Track down. The Eagles trying to get back in it here, and they need to do so quickly because this is capped at 25. That tipped across and down. Nice left-handed move up front there from Covenant. 24-20, they lead it, and here is set point. Set to the middle, tipped across. Now ricocheted around and finally sent back over. And that one barely cleared. Eagles with another opportunity here. That's blocked up front. And 2 hits will make it 25-20 Covenant. They'll take game 1 here over Augusta. We have one more set coming your way here in 3 minutes. You're watching the NACA. Up first here, they did take set one. It's a good dig off that back line. And a kill for Covenant makes it 1-0. Serve played now up front. Just tipped across there as the pass is a little bit too close to the net. We'll try that again as a Pingo plays it to the near side, and that was blocked initially, but then sent back over. Set to the near side, and that hit into the net by Emery Howe, and it's a 2-0 lead. Serve here, played to the middle, and that will eventually fall in. Making now 2-1. Sent back to the outside. Boy, good block up front by Julia Chase. Went back tied at 2. This track down to the far side and a good save. Nice hustle by Covenant. That blocked up front off the hit of Kelsey Malden. And make it a 3-2 lead for Covenant here as Ivy O'Barry checks in for Augusta. Serve played back up front and just sent across. And a good block again by Julia Chase. We're tied at 3. Set in the middle. A good dig in that back row by Opinko, and another block up front by Chase. Let's try it again, and she wins again. Make it now 4-3. And that was blocked up front, but it will fall in for a kill for Covenant as we continue to go back and forth here. Score tied up at 4. Sent across and now back to the outside. Go in the middle, and Julia Chase just kind of pushed it across and down, making it 5-4 Augusta. And that serve is out of bounds. Service error will make it back tied up at 5. And the serve into the net, but it doesn't matter because Augusta is out of rotation. Somebody's not set in the right spot on the floor, and sometimes that's just not paying real close attention to where you're lined up. You have to be, when you're switching positions after the serve, you have to make sure that you start on the right side of whoever is next to you. So if you want to be in the left front, for instance, but your scheduled spot on the floor is the right front, you got to make sure you're to the right of the person in the center. If you line up to the left before they serve, that's where you get those rotation errors. And lots of times it's just literally a foot or two difference. You're either supposed to be inside or outside of somebody that's in front of you. And typically those rotation errors occur just for that particular reason, where you're trying to move from one spot of the floor to the other after the serve, and you just move early. So 7-6 is the lead now for Augusta. That's popped up on the far side. Now set back over. That came off the hand of Emery Howe. Really weird. Almost seemed like it went off the side of her hand. As that tracked down, now back to the outside and just pushed across. And that sent across and down by Grace Greenway. That makes us tied up at 7 here. Sent across out of bounds. Now 8-7 the lead for Augusta. I apologize. I had the score flip-flop there. Of course, that's kind of easy to do with this game because both teams are wearing very similar gray-colored jerseys. You can get confused in a hurry if you don't pay attention to that Augusta on the front of the jersey. We're tied up at 8. Serve here now played into that back line. Boy, that's a really nice hit off that back row by Julia Chase. It's a good set, too. Serve here by Greenway, played to the outside, and then this put across. Again, this set on that back line, and another hit and a kill from Julia Chase off that back row. It's now 10-8, the lead for Augusta. Covenant took set 1. However, it doesn't really matter a whole lot as far as this match goes because these aren't really full-on matches. These are just 2 individual sets to 25, and you kind of count up all of the final totals at the end of this pool play to determine where you're then set for the next day. But so each one of these games is important. Sending that back line, a put across there by Greenway. And we have a net violation on Judine Opinko. Make it 10-8, or excuse me, 10-9, Augusta. Have a timeout on the floor to Covenant. So we will take one as well. Be back here in just a moment from the NACA. Back to it here as we're on the floor after that timeout. As the point awarded to Augusta, they lead it now 11-9. Lucy O'Keefe to serve. And that hit goes wide of the nets. That'll make it 12-9. have another net violation. This one on Pinko again. So that'll make it 12-10. Serve here played up front. Set too close to the net. Ball still played and now put across. And good take off that back row by Greenway, but she left it too close to the net. And it's put straight back down, and Augusta leads at 12-11. Serve here is an ace. We're back tied at 12. Once again, neither team can really separate themselves from one another here in this match. Just kind of back and forth, back and forth. Greenway puts that across. Now up front, sent over, and Greenway plays it again. Middle of the floor, the Whites a good block up front by Covenant. Make it 13-12. Once again, if you're joining us and wondering why we're not talking any names for Covenant, they're not in the 750-page roster sheet that we have here. So I do apologize for that, but we have been working on some audio things and some other stuff, and just trying to put all that together and to get this going for you this morning. So that's why no names for Covenant, because I do not have them. So 14-12, the lead here for Covenant. Now let's be sent across, and that will eventually fall in. Now 15-12 and timeout to Augusta. So we'll take a break once again. Be back with more from the NACA in a moment.
This is a different piece of software that I use for
Serve here for Covenant out of that timeout. They lead at 15-12 here in set two. They did win set one, as that goes down off the hand of Lucy O'Keefe. And now Emery Howe to serve. And that will fall in for an ace, making it 15-14. Again, this is one of those matches where nobody can seem to get any distance. One team gets up by 2 or 3, then the other will come back and get up by 2 or 3. As that serve goes out of bounds, the service error makes it 16-14. Ivy O'Barry back in for Augusta. Serve here, played back to the near side. My goodness. That was a beautiful set, and Kelsey Malden just came across the top and hammered that. You can kind of see that coming. Whenever you get that first hit that kind of gets to the spot where it needs to be and gives your setter a good opportunity, you can see the hitters lining up on the outside, and you can see Kelsey coming 3 or 4 steps away. And now a 16-15 lead for Covenant, and that serve goes into the net, make it 17-15. And that's the thing you'll see as we go forward today, especially when we get into teams like the Rock and Jellies and teams like that. you can see that develop as you're watching a point when there's a good first hit and a nice set. You can just kind of see everything work together like in unison almost. And you'll see those hitters start their approach from 4 or 5 steps away, and you know something's coming. 18-15 now to the outside, and that is 4 hits on Augusta. Well, now Covenant starting to stretch things out a little bit. This is kind of what happened at the end of set 1, where I went 25-20. It kind of got stretched out toward the end of that first set. And the same thing happening here in set 2. Was back and forth for a while, and now it's 20-15 Covenant. That's really all it takes, though. If you have 2 or 3 mistakes, it could snowball in a hurry. Goes to the back line and put across. Augusta to play it again. That's just put over. Set to that back line. That almost went off the ceiling. It wouldn't matter if it's on your own side, though. It's only if it ricochets across the net. That partially blocked up front. Boy, there's a nice hit, and they're going to say that that was touch on the back line. I'll make it 21-15. I'm not so sure that was touched, but I say it was, and that's all that matters. We have very good officials at this tournament, too, by the way. Through the years, you know, I see a lot of officiating, and I mean a lot. And in Illinois, it can be less than stellar. And the officiating here is very good. As that's hit out of bounds, and we have a timeout to Augusta. 22-15 a lead for Covenant as they started to stretch things out a little bit here. We'll take a break, come back with the end of set 2 in just a moment.
Educating students.
Educating students.
To become servants of Christ. Servants of Christ.
Para llegar a ser servidores de Cristo.
To make a difference in today's world.
Faire une différence dans le monde d'aujourd'hui. Einen Unterschied in der heutigen Welt zu machen.
Fazer uma diferença no mundo de hoje.
تغيبتي دنيا داير وظافر.
Мы можем изменить сегодняшний мир.
So out of the serve, back to the right side. That was deflected out front, so we'll make it 22-16 as Augusta will get it back. Julia Chase will get set to serve here.
John, it's good to be back with you for another year of NACA basketball.
Basketball, are you fast forwarding in time?
Oh, volleyball, yes. Forgive me.
We will. I mean, basketball's coming sooner rather than later.
John, this makes, I mean, I don't want to date ourselves, but just me and you together, teaming up. Good grief, I kind of shudder to think how many years it has been now.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I mean,
I think this is our 4th year together at the volleyball. Right. Now, that doesn't seem like a super long time, but you know, it's not just volleyball. It's
it's at least a couple times a year.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to hit the antenna up top, and it's 24-17. We're to the end of set number 2 here. This will be set point.
What a great match this has been.
It has been. The score of the second set doesn't indicate how close this match has been because Covenant has stretched it out a couple of times. But Augusta has been right there.
Sure, and they had the lead for a time.
Yeah, a couple of times. But Covenant just seems to keep coming, and eventually they get a break, and there's the last point of the set. 25-17 is the win for Covenant. And they also took set 1, and that's all there is. There's 2 sets, no matter who wins, to 25, and they do pool play results based off of that, and then they start seeding everything after that. Well, we do have, 17 more volleyball matches to go today. It's a lot anyway. Up next, we're going to go to Group A.
It's going to get serious.
It will.
Yeah,
they're
coming.
We'll see the Rock 3 times today. We're going to see Legacy 3 times. Columbus a couple of times, Fellowship a couple of times, and all that's coming up next. 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. Everything stays in that one particular bracket there. So that will be interesting. Matter of fact, we will get to that here in just a moment. So that wraps things up.
With that, Covenant's going to take it, and we look forward to seeing those teams again, how they're going to stack up. When, again, like you said, this is just pool play. If you're fans out there, these teams are just getting settled in, getting acclimated to the tournament, the mountain up here at Fort Bluff Camp, and we hope to see these teams again in the coming days.
Yeah, because even if you lose, especially day one, winning and losing doesn't mean a whole lot other than where you get put afterwards. The more you win, the higher bracket you get in. But even if you lose some matches or sets here in the first day, you get put in your bracket of where you're going to be for the tournament later. And then wins and losses really matter. But for this first day, it's just seeing how you match up and what competition level you're at so they can get you in the right spot. It's not so much about wins and losses as it is making sure everybody's paired with equal competition.
Hey, that was I would certainly think that those 2 teams should fall in a similar bracket. I mean, that was
I would think so.
Yeah,
they're pretty even. So we'll have the Rock. Who did I say was coming up next? The Rock and Fellowship. The Rock and Fellowship up next. So we're going to take a break, get all the stuff put back together, and we'll be back with you here in about 15 minutes or so, I think.
You're watching the 2017 National Volleyball Tournament on NACA Sports.net.